Hey guys, Nick here. So today we're taking a look at our very first 2026 Yamaha Grizzly EPS for 2026. Now, as you'll see right away, Yamaha went bold this year for the EPS. It's finished in a tactical / acid green, they call this color. And it's, as traditional Grizzly models go, each trim level comes in its own unique color scheme that sets it apart. So this is the only color you can get the EPS in for this year. Now, of course, there are other Grizzly models. You can get a camo, and you can also get it in the XTR variant. Now, those are going to be a bit more money. A few different features on those machines, but they're all going to relatively be the same. It's all the same powertrain, same chassis. It's really just wheel and tire that is different. And of course, the winch comes standard on that camo or on the XTR. Now, what's neat with the XTR, of course, you get a bit of a different tire on it. You get a much bigger tire, actually. It's the same front and rear tire on it, so it's actually a squared setup. All four are the same exact size and dimensions, which is really nice versus a traditional setup where the front is a little more narrow than the back. And that is going to be a much heavier, deeper lug tire that has more of a mudslinger, really for that mud bogging kind of intend and use is more what that's set up for. Versus the EPS is a much more well-rounded trail machine and workhorse than the XTR in its own ways, because it has a more of a low-profile tire on it. But with that all being said, let's get started and focus on the EPS. Now let's talk about a couple of the stats and what makes a Grizzly unique in Yamaha's lineup. Now, Yamaha makes a Kodiak 700, which shares the same motor, but this is clutched and belted a little bit differently, so you get a bit more high performance and high speed out of the Grizzly versus the Kodiak 700. As well, it's a similar chassis, but you have more travel. It sits up higher on the Grizzly. You have a bigger wheel and tire on it. And so you get a bit more performance out of this machine with that added ground clearance for any kind of trail riding. Now, this is powered by a 686cc fuel-injected, liquid-cooled, single-cylinder engine, not a V-twin, not a parallel twin, single-cylinder. And this has a wet weight of 700 pounds. So this actually keeps this machine very light and nimble and very fast, which is quite nice. You get a good balance. You can throw this around on the trails, and you're not so much riding the machine. You can still kind of override it and throw it around as you wish, versus some of those other machines that get bigger than this, that start approaching 800 plus pounds. That's going to start getting a little bit trickier, and you're going to have to be more mindful when you're riding. For something like this, it's definitely going to be a lot more manageable. And so finally, let's regard and talk about pricing. For 2026, this has a base MSRP of $10,399, and then you have a destination charge of $610, which would then give you an out-the-door price of $1110. And this pricing is actually pretty interesting and good, because if you go to a 25, which is a different color scheme, it's identical. There is not a price increase on the 26. So something to keep in mind if you're looking. However, there would be probably some more incentives going on the dealership end on a 25 and from Yamaha directly. After talking about all those numbers, let's get up close and go for a tour around the Grizzly. Alrighty, so now up close at the Grizzly, I do want to kind of show off these graphics on it. So we're going to walk this way. I know there was some B-roll earlier showing you around it, but what's quite neat is the way they do everything with the Grizzly, with the slots through it. You got some green here, right? And then you have a little hint of bright high-vis orange right there, which is an interesting taste why they did that. But I really like how they do the dark green, which is like traditional Grizzly and Yamaha Kodiak ATVs. It's the traditional Yamaha green they use, but then they tied it in with a bit of the high-vis, so you get some bright color out of it, but it's not too much and taking up the whole machine. I do like that they did the Yamaha in the white. Coming up front, this is painted, and the shroud here for your headlight is painted. Usually it's just a flat black, so it's nice they did that. And then they left this though as the flat black. They didn't color that, which they don't usually. You do on this machine get LED headlights on your bottom bulbs, and then your top headlight is a halogen bulb, so that is not LED. But turning that off, let's pull off this compartment. Now, in regards of pulling this compartment off, you actually have 4 push pins, 2 up top. So one here, and you have one down on the left side, and one on the right in the bottom corner. You're gonna pull it up, and there's all of your electronics on this machine and one of the intakes. So again, keeping that high water ground clearance and everything going. So that's nice that they have one up here. Keeps it very high. Your battery's located high up front, all your main electronics as well, keeping the stuff away and out of the water. Of course, this is liquid cooled. Your radiator, your cap is here. Coming down your right side, it's hard to see, but your reservoir is right there. And you can see, of course, this does not come with the winch from factory. The XTR and the Camo do. But of course, you can always get the added in Yamaha winch as an accessory from your dealer. Now on your side of the machine here, you have your twist to unlock, and that is your dipstick right in there. You can just pull that out and check that, and you push it back in. This cover you push back in, and you twist and lock it. And as we go around, you can see it's more of an all-terrain tire. It's not a heavy mud tire on this, so this isn't going to rip up the lawn as much, but it's still going to ride very smoothly on different surfaces, not be too noisy, and it's not going to have a lot of vibration like that mud tire. Of course, you still get an aluminum wheel all around on this model, and you get the receiver set up in the back, so you just put your hitch right in into any of your trailers you want, which is nice because then it puts your ball back here. It makes it a little bit easier when you're doing those tight turns. Up top here, we do have a storage compartment, and this is an LED tail light and brake light. Come around on this side, our fuel fill is right here, which leads to our gas tank being under our seat. So you can see the top of your tank is right there, and of course your fill, and of course your foot brake there. Here's our ignition switch, our on and our off for the machine. You have a 12-volt outlet right there, charge any phones and devices. Sealed compartment and storage in here. You can probably fit your wallet and keys, maybe a phone. Be a little hard to get your phone through here, but or gloves. So you have a few options. You can, of course, use your storage for however you want. You have a much larger storage, which of course all the owner's manuals are in here. It goes pretty far forward, almost all the way up there, and it goes all the way back as well. So nice, appropriate amount of storage on the Grizzly. But let's go get into that display. Alrighty, turning our key on. There she is. Our gear selector on the left side, you put your foot on your foot brake and you can shift it into what you need it to. So of course you have a reverse, all the way back is your park, back up into the middle is your neutral, one forward is your high range, and all the way forward is your low range. So that's quite nice, you get all that. High beam light right there, power steering light, that goes off once you start it. All your main check engine lights and warnings are on the right side. That's all gear indicator. In our main display, up and well, actually on the bottom we're going to start. You have our clock, you have your hours on the machine, your voltage, coolant temperature. Back to your clock. In the upper display, we have 2 trips. You have your wrench for your servicing, which will pop up when it needs to get serviced, which I believe is right around 100 miles or so on these units. And on our left side, of course, we have our high beam, low beam, and our off, our start switch, our emergency kill, and our override for our diff lock. So let's start it. So when you put this in 4-wheel, you just push the button in. It shows you the 4-wheel indicator right there. That puts it into a limited slip 4-wheel drive up front. The back axle is always locked. So those two will always spin. Slide this over, take that yellow switch, push it out, and now it flashes diff lock here, and it flashes in the little ATV diagram right there. So that will lock your front differential, so both front wheels are going to turn. So when you go to steer it, it's going to make it very difficult. And so that's why they have the override as a safety. So above about, I think it's 15 or 18 miles an hour, you have to hold that button, and it will make your display basically do that and allow you to then have full access to full wheel speed if you're in really like thick, heavy mud or heavy snow. But otherwise, you're probably just going to ever put it in 4-wheel drive, in normal driving around, leave it in 2-wheel. I think it's time we take it for a spin. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all did enjoy on the Grizzly for 2026. Quite the sharp color scheme, no other changes otherwise, but overall a really nice unit from Yamaha. They've been playing these units out for a little while now, but they've been very successful and very well received. They could do a couple, they could of course go for a redesign or a couple upgrades if they want, but they're honestly in a pretty safe spot right now. Maybe a more direct like Type-C port or something for phone charging, or a way to plug your phone into it. There's some other stuff that they might want to look into in the future, as some other brands are probably going to start doing that as well if they haven't already. So I hope you all did enjoy. This is a really great workout horse or trail riding machine. A ton of power. You do have a throttle regulator on the handlebar which you can turn right down. So if you want to throw someone else on it that is more of a novice rider, you can turn it down so they only do like 15 miles an hour to help keep them out of trouble and not completely goosing that throttle. But that's going to do it. You guys leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Helps me to keep producing these videos for you all to enjoy. If you have any more comments or questions down below, feel free to comment. If there's something I did say wrong, of course, feel free to correct me. But that's going to do it. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Let me know what you want to see a Grizzly video on about next, or comparison. Bye.